Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's explainer, where we're going to unravel a truly profound, almost mind-bending biblical mystery. We are looking at God's incredible, time-transcending plan of salvation. It is like putting together a magnificent puzzle that spans across all of history, and I'm absolutely thrilled to piece it together with you today. Now think about these two scenes side by side. First, we have a moment from the Old Testament, thousands of years ago, where the Israelites are crossing the Jordan River on completely dry ground. Then, compare that with the New Testament scene of Jesus being baptized. Here is the real kicker. These are two monumental events that happened at the exact same river, separated by thousands of years, yet they share the exact same chapter and verses in the Bible. Joshua chapter 3, verses 13 to 16, and Matthew chapter 3, verses 13 to 16. Crazy, right? So you've got to ask yourself, is this just some wild coincidence, or is it a hidden secret? If you are fairly new to the faith, you might be wondering how all these pieces fit. But let me assure you, in God's massive blueprint of redemption, there are absolutely no coincidences. As we dig into the spiritual connection between these two events, we're going to uncover an answer that is so much bigger than you might expect. Let's move to the timeline and see how this builds. You and I, we experience time in a straight line, right? It's past, present, and future. We live out our lives scene by scene. Thousands of years ago, we had Joshua. Then, centuries ago, Isaiah making his prophecies. Fast forward to 2,000 years ago with Jesus' baptism, all the way down to us sitting here today. For humans, everything just flows forward, one step at a time. But here is where it gets really amazing. The God we believe in, he isn't bound by that timeline at all. Revelation 1:8 calls him the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. Think of it like a movie director. While the characters in the movie are stuck experiencing the story sequentially, the director is holding the entire film reel right in their hands. They see the opening credits and the final scene at the exact same moment. To our time-transcending God, the past, present, and future aren't separate pieces. They are all one perfectly unified present. To really grasp this, consider this quote from Isaiah chapter 53, verse 5. It says, "He was pierced for our transgressions." Now, Isaiah prophesied about the cross hundreds of years before Jesus was even born. But look closely at the grammar there. He talks about this future event in the past tense, like it's already a done deal. How is that possible? Well, to a God who transcends time, Christ dying on the cross for us was already a fully accomplished living reality, even centuries before it physically played out on Earth. Okay, so let's bring it back to the Jordan River. In the Bible, deep, raging waters, like a river or the sea, usually represent death and judgment. It shows how completely powerless we are against those sweeping currents. Just like crossing the Red Sea after being saved by the Passover lamb's blood, Joshua leading the people across the Jordan is this massive spiritual symbol of passing safely through the waters of death and stepping right into salvation. If you are just starting out on your faith journey, let me give you a really everyday analogy to help picture this. Imagine there's a deadly, raging storm pouring down. This rain represents God's judgment, and if we get caught out in it, we're done for. But then, Jesus intentionally steps right out into that torrential downpour. He takes the absolute full force of the rain, getting completely soaked on our behalf. That's exactly what his baptism and death represent. And because he took the storm, you and I get to walk through on totally dry ground. He didn't just hand us an umbrella, he absorbed the storm entirely. And this brilliantly illustrates the real mystery here. Why did the Israelites under Joshua get to walk across the Jordan River on perfectly dry ground without a single drop of water touching their feet? Because in God's unified, time-transcending timeline, Jesus was already there, taking the waters of baptism and judgment for them. The Old Testament shadow lines up flawlessly with the New Testament reality. It is a stunning picture of substitutionary atonement, acting as one single, continuous event across time. Now let's shift from that macro timeline directly into your life right now. We have a breakdown of Romans chapter 6 to look at. Notice how Christ's work maps directly to your personal reality. When Jesus stepped into that water, representing his death and burial, and when he came out of it, resurrecting to life, you were spiritually united with him. You're tied together. His work literally becomes your reality. Your old self died to sin, and you are raised to a brand new life. That is the incredible present meaning of our union with Christ. I know terms like substitutionary atonement and union with Christ can sound like dry, cold theology, but I promise you they really aren't. These are time-transcending spiritual realities that fundamentally alter who you are today. Just think about these takeaways from Galatians and 1 John. You are no longer a slave to sin. You are fully united with Christ's perfect work, and you have been bestowed all the undeniable rights of a child of God. It's a total game changer for your identity. Just picture the scene when Jesus came up out of the Jordan River. The heavens opened, and God the Father spoke these exact words. "This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased." Wow. But here's the most beautiful part of our union with Christ. When the Father spoke those words of deep love and approval over Jesus, because you are united with him, he was actually speaking those exact same words over you too. So the crucial point is this: mentally insert your own name right into that statement. This huge macro theology we've been unpacking, it is not just some ancient history lesson. It is deeply, intensely personal. God is looking right at you across all of time and space, saying, "You are my beloved child." As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question to really chew on. Are you truly enjoying this amazing, time-transcending grace in your everyday life? You've been given a brand new identity and a completely fresh start in Christ. I really hope this deep dive sparks a desire in you to step fully into that reality today. Thanks so much for joining me, and keep exploring these incredible truths.